Listen up, people. Today, we will learn how to kick names and take ass. We're going to do this Aikido style. It's going to be quick. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be majestically simple and easy. Am I clear, Monica?
Yes, sir. Clear, but dead wrong. Simple, not easy.
Okay. I see some of you lowlifes still have some ideas of their own. So listen up and listen carefully. In Aikido, there are only 3 stages to every conflict resolution. Not 2, not 4.5, 3. Situating, absorbing, and redirecting. Do you understand, Monica?
With respect, sir, I don't know enough about Aikido to say that, and neither do you.
I see. Someone feels like running around the barracks all night with a hard drive over their head, huh? Can we at least say it is more or less a partial, almost acceptable description of Aikido conflict resolution?
Barely, sir.
Exactly, soldier. A more or less partial, almost acceptable description of conflict resolution in Aikido is situating, absorbing, and redirecting.
Go fighting Aikidokas!
Are we going to make the enemy bleed?
No, sir!
Are we going to make them cry for their mommies?
Sir! No, sir!
Are we going to win?
Absolutely not, sir! The idea of winning is completely irrelevant in Aikido, sir!
Well, that sucks. No bleeding, no crying, no winning. Who's ever gonna buy into that, Monica?
Nope, it doesn't look promising. But I believe in you, idiot.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Just saying it's Aikidiot, not idiot.
Not there yet, buddy. Just take the win and go. Just take the win.
The Aikidiot, Aikido, conflict resolution, and the general practice of not being a jerk. Chapter 9, Situating, Part 1. Yep, that's right. In the Aikido and conflict resolution model, which hopefully is a partial, almost acceptable version of Aikido, in that model, there are only 3 components, which is compatible with a lot of Eastern thought models that are deductive rather than inductive. Say what now? Inductive, which is usually the way Western thought works, is from the details to the general idea. I eat a slice of pizza, then another, and in my case, another. The first slice is slightly burnt, but I can see the potential. That combination of cheese, tomato sauce, and dough is not bad. The next slice has pineapple on it. I then make a solemn oath to hunt the bastard who put that pineapple there to the ends of the earth. And also, I understand that without the pineapple crime, that dough-cheese-tomato combo is still working. The next slice is perfect. And by now, I already know quite a lot about pizza, and I can see it's a generally good idea. In the other thinking method, the deductive one, we work from general ideas into details. An old Japanese master reveals to me one of the secrets of the universe. Dough and cheese taste good together. I instantly become wiser, and I can put every dough and cheese food in my mouth knowing I can't go wrong. But I'm not an expert. I have the rough outline but not the details. I don't know what the difference between pizza and calzone is, for example, or what is considered good or bad mac and cheese. But I can get by. So many branches of Eastern philosophy are deductive. The sages, in this case sensei, give you a very limited set of rules that apply to all situations. Now it's your lifetime's work to understand exactly how to implement these rules in every different situation. Which is why the Western instant wellness advice is so horrible, by the way. They never lie to you, they tell you to breathe deeply to relieve stress, which is very simple, but they don't tell you it takes years of training to breathe correctly and to remember doing it all the time. The wellness gurus also tell us to let go of our ego, which is one simple guideline. It's not rocket science, people. It's just an uphill battle that most of us will be engaged in for most of our lives and will not necessarily win. So, Eastern philosophy is usually very deceptive to the Western eye. It shows us exactly how simple it is to walk a certain path. Only then we discover the path is long, winding, and usually includes dozens of toll booths with bad-tempered attendants, and no, ma'am, we don't accept credit cards. Situate, absorb, redirect. So simple. I formulated this model almost 15 years ago, and till this day, I'm struggling with living by it. Did we already say simple but not easy?
Out of blood and guts we grew. We're a rough and ready crew. We're a rough and ready crew. Sound off. 1, 2. Sound off. 3, 4. Sound off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. A frogman's money is as good as gold. A frogman's money is good as gold. Sound off. 1, 2. Sound off.
Well, let's start from the end for once, to show how ridiculously simple, almost primitive, what we are talking about is. We are having the eternal argument from episode 2, it doesn't matter about what, and the other person calls us stupid. Again. First, we situate. We establish the scene and the respective positions within it, saying, we have a disagreement. Then we absorb. We let our opponent carry the momentum of their attack. We accommodate them, saying, it could be that you are completely right and I'm completely wrong. And then the third stage is to redirect. Not counter, but change the trajectory. I don't think that insults are the way to make me see that. And put all together, it may sound like, look, I think different than you about this, and it could definitely be that I'm missing something. You can call me stupid, or you can tell me what I'm missing. The variations are endless. The severity, the tone, the wording, all can be played with to our heart's content. But the three components remain: situate, absorb, redirect. The same situation could have been addressed in a much more aggressive manner. We could have said, people are allowed to have opinions that are different from yours. You think you're right, that's excellent, but guess what? I think I'm right too. Burn, that's a slap in the face. Now, both responses had the same structure, compatible with the rules of situating, absorbing, and redirecting, but their impact and compatibility with the situation were completely different. Just for example, try the second response with someone 10 steps above you in a corporate hierarchy, and they'll be wiping your remains from the ceiling with a spatula. But do that with a colleague who had mistaken you for a doormat, and it might be exactly what will set them straight. How do we know? We do Aikido. We assess the current situation, its history, its future, the mood, the temperature, the lingering smell of coffee spilled on the carpet 2 days ago, and we make the best decision of style, tone, and wording. But the three basic structural elements are always there: situate, absorb, and redirect.
Lift your hands up in the sky. Lift your hands up in the sky. Beauty train is slipping by. Beauty train is slipping by.
So, a million years ago, we talked about the three spaces in Aikido when someone attacks us with a chop to the head. And what we said then was that the actual contact, the Aikido technique that sends the attacker flying, is minimal. For the most part, we let our attacker retain their momentum and trajectory, which means that us touching them, affecting them, is the smallest part of what we do. What is it that we mostly do? We situate. If the attack eventually meets us when we are exactly where we should be, standing exactly the way we should stand, moving exactly the way we should move, then it is almost certain that we will manage to perform the technique. Verbal conflict plays out a little differently. Roles are discrete. We can't talk at the same time, although we often try. But generally speaking, there is action and reaction. So situating cannot take place while our opponent is attacking. It has to be incorporated into our own movement, our response, and the question is, how do we translate physical position and stance into speech? Simple. We describe it. If we describe Aikido, then situating would sound like this. We are standing on the sidewalk next to Café Domestique. It's pretty cold. The sun is shining behind you, making it hard for me to see the details, but it's obvious you're holding a broken bottle and rushing at me. The bottle used to be a 2023 Cabernet Sauvignon, which is okay since I don't like red wine anyway, and it was a horrible year to begin with. You are swinging the bottle at my neck with your left. I move 20 inches forward and left, starting to swing clockwise, raising my right hand and using my left to punch your nose. I know it's not very Aikido-like, but hell, it's life or death here, so I think a preemptive strike, atemi as it is called, is due. My right hand connects with your left, my left with your nose. Bam. Situating is more or less finished. Now, in order for this to work, at least two things have to happen. The first, we should observe only what's at hand, the concrete facts. Anything else will distort our assessment of the conflict. For example, I think you're an idiot picking up a fight over an argument about Taylor Swift's last album is a legitimate observation. Mind you, it is also a fact, because it's happening in my own private headspace where I decide what is right and what is wrong. But it's not very concrete or helpful. If anything, it distracts us from more urgent concerns we have at the moment. So, facts, and make them concrete. The second thing is that our observation has to be compatible with our opponent's movement. If they move right, I observe right. I may be a demon executing this technique left-handed. I would love them to move left, but they don't. So it doesn't matter how much I'd love to make certain favorable observations. If the opponent doesn't comply, then wishful thinking observation, an observation that is not compatible with the opponent's stance, would not just be unhelpful, it may prove ruinous. So let's situate. We cross the street and almost get killed by a driver who didn't stop at a stop sign. The driver sticks her head out of the car's window and shouts, "Get your head out of your ass, idiot. You might see where you're going." Now, let's get some junk out of the way first. "You're an asshole" is not a factual observation. "You nearly killed me" is an observation, possibly factual, but is it compatible with our opponent's movement? The driver is not behaving like she nearly killed us. She doesn't look too fussed. So it could be that you're seeing things differently, or even worse. The driver may acknowledge she nearly killed us, but may not see it as too important, unlike us. And here is the really terribly difficult part. In a physical conflict, it's easy to see that we need to meet our opponents where they're at and adjust our movements to theirs. When it's verbal, it's much harder to see, but it is real nevertheless. If I state the driver nearly killed me when she doesn't see it that way, it may not result in a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon stuck in my neck, but the attempt to resolve the conflict will be a bust. We will disagree on the premise, on the foundation of the conflict, and from that moment on, nothing we will say will have any effect, since it will relate to a situation that the other doesn't agree ever happened. Sounds familiar? I'll bet you a 2024 Cabernet Sauvignon it does.
Out of blood and guts we grew. Out of blood and guts we grew. We're a rough and ready crew. We're a rough and ready crew. Sound off. 1, 2. Sound off. 3, 4. Sound off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think we should call it a day for now. From this point on and until the end of the season, we will do nothing but situate, absorb, and redirect. So there's no need to work the listeners too hard. But let's just repeat the obvious, not so obvious thing we just said about situating. In order to conduct an effective, productive conflict, which is just another way of saying conflict resolution, we need to agree with our opponent about the scope and content of the conflict. And that is so sensei right there. In order to disagree, we need to agree. We need to start our technique, our so-called defense, with a factual statement that will be accepted by our opponent. You can imagine how hard this may be when we're angry, flooded with adrenaline, and all we want to do is scream our heads off. But there's no way around it. This statement, this basis for the interaction can be short, long, implied, conveyed by sign language, but it has to be there. Without it, we will have different arguments and everything that will follow will become irrelevant. In that, the Aikido metaphor can be of great help. Meet your opponents where they are, not where they are not. And it sounds simple, but that doesn't change the fact that it's one of the hardest things the Homo sapiens can try to do. But that's why we're here, to face difficulties with a knife between our teeth, to spit in the face of the enemy, to smell the NAPLAM in the morning, kick ass and take names, to bring on the pain, to rain hellfire, put some teeth in that cornflakes, to skin some knees, to wipe some grins off some faces, to trample our opposition, to make them wish they were never born, to make their mothers regret ever laying eyes on their fathers, not their own fathers of the mothers, but the fathers of the idiots we're facing today. What? No, hands off, Mr. Orderly. No, I will not. I will not be silenced.
Yes, as the Aikidiot is being evacuated to the asylum, we'll be wrapping it up for today. Try to be patient with him. He means well, but he is so repetitive and boring I could die. That is, if I could die. If you understand what I mean. Like, as a virtual intelligence model. And, forget about it. And also, fear not. Situating Part 2 is in the making, and it will make even less sense than Part 1. Until then, go fighting Aikidokas or whatever.